morning, peeps. All right, so I saw a video last week from somebody that an author that I occasionally check in with on Facebook, and he had a little bit of a rant going on about spiritual bypassing, and I sat with it for the better part of the week, and wanted to do a quick little video on it because I think it's important. I had to really stop and check in with myself to see if any of what I had showing up was in any way, a spiritual bypassing, and I don't believe it is. And here's why. So first of all, let's take a look at, let's define what is spiritual bypassing. So according to Psychology Today, spiritual bypassing, they're basing this on a classic book called Toward a Psychology of Awakening, which was an author's textbook during a doctoral program. And that definition of spiritual bypassing is this: spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep personal, emotional, unfinished business, to shore up a shaky sense of self, or to belittle basic needs, feelings, and developmental tasks. The goal of such practices, he claimed, was enlightenment. This practice might feel as if it's more and more prominent these days at a time when there seems to be a great deal of unrest and uncertainty in our internal and external worlds. The foundation of spiritual bypass is basically avoidance and repression. And for some individuals, spirituality serves as a way to rise above or handle the shaky ground beneath. So let's just stop there for a second. Let's go back. I want to reread the definition. Spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep personal, emotional, unfinished business, to shore up a shaky sense of self, or belittle basic needs, feelings, and developmental tasks. The goal of such practices was enlightenment. So the rant had from this author was focused on how there's a lot of information right now, a lot of people saying on Facebook or on videos, YouTube, wherever, that we have great opportunities, and COVID-19 and the stay-at-home is providing these amazing opportunities. And he was really ranting about how this is spiritual bypassing. Now, I really needed to take time to be introspective and see, was this sense that I was having about great opportunities coming from a place of bypassing or ignoring, my basic needs, or as the definition in the article says, to shore up a shaky sense of self, right? Or belittling basic needs, feelings, and developmental tasks. So here's the difference that I perceive. With the work that I've done really intensively over the last 9 months or so, but when I was introduced to it in 2000, gosh, I can't remember now, 2009 maybe, 2000, I don't remember. Whenever it was I was first introduced to the work of higher brain living, and more recently source code meditation, which is the portion of the work from Dr. Michael Cotton that you can do at home. You can self-activate the innate organic technology to activate the prefrontal cortex and the higher structures of the brain. Higher brain living is done with a facilitator. So if you're not close to or have access to a facilitator, source code meditation is really, a very incredible, robust technology. There's no other technology on this planet that I know of that activates the higher structures of the brain in a very specific, repeatable way that allows not only access to awakening states, but also the focused growth in the vertical path of evolution, vertical growth. So my perspective, why this sense of excitement that I had, and please don't misunderstand this. I understand that there's great grief, and I can certainly tap into the grief and the disruption and the fear and the uncertainty and all of those emotions. But when we were first entering into the COVID-19, I think I was in the denial part of it too, like, oh, it's just the flu. Ask my son, he would tell you. I was like, oh, it's like whatever. Our bodies are amazing. We'll be able to manage it. And I still do believe that. I also understand that there's a lot of people who are not able to manage that, and that it is something we have never seen before. It is unprecedented. There's no information previously. We have not had millions of years or thousands of years for these beings, these bodies, to have evolved to deal with the resonance of this virus. Anyway, whole nother topic. So back to spiritual bypassing. So my sense, I had a sense of elation and excitement and bliss even. Of course, I was intensely doing my meditative processes within the source code meditation. And I also felt like this is the time we've been waiting for, like this brings up emotion for me. Our world has been so broken. We have been living in a world that is unsustainable. It's not that the earth is unsustainable. The earth will be fine with us or without us, but we as humanity have been living in structures that do not serve the majority of people. They serve a very small minority to a great extent, and the majority of people are suffering, and it doesn't need to be that way. And I'm not laying blame at the feet of a few or small percentage. I am saying that there are structures in the world that are just, we have been on a hamster wheel, right, in the rat race, as they say, and we have been pursuing, like those caterpillars, consuming as much as we can consume. And just like the caterpillar, we must go into the cocoon, and those imaginal cells, we will dissolve old structures in order to create new structures and emerge as the new butterfly, the new human. Like, it is a total possibility. And I believe that there's emotion here for me, because there was a part of me that was starting to believe that it wasn't going to happen, that we were just going to self-destruct. And it's still a possibility that we can do that too. The greatest, I think Bruce Lipton talks about the possible of the sixth extinction event, which we are, headlong, headed over that cliff if we don't strap on a parachute or wake up to, the bigger structures. So back again to the spiritual bypass. So I had all of this, sense of opportunities, and like, this is what we've been waiting for. And, this transition could have been so much more difficult. We could have been in a bloody war, and, like Holocaust, like, nukes, like we could be totally screwing ourselves over right now. And right now we are at home, we are sheltered in place, we have electricity, we have access to Wi-Fi, we have access to community through technology. I mean, like, can you imagine, if this had come 100 years before, none of this would be happening. We have access to groceries, like our supply chain is still pretty much intact. So there's a lot to be grateful for, and I think that there's a lot of opportunities, and this is not to belittle in any way the people who are struggling to meet their basic needs. Like, I feel their pain, I get it, I understand. So my sense about this possibility of spiritual bypassing is, if you do not hold a meta view, if you are not able to see the both and structures, then yes, it is easy to get into spiritual bypassing by only looking at the possibility of positives without addressing the shadow elements, without addressing the unresolved pain of not only my personal life, your personal life, but also of our genetic line. We are not only carrying our own experiences, we are carrying the experiences of our ancestors. And because we are not isolated, we are energetic beings, we are in a frequency of our collective. So it's not just about me and my family, or just me alone, right? It's me, my family, my entire lineage, all of the people that I'm around, and us as a humanity, our collective field. So that's really powerful, really important, and I do believe that there's a lot of great opportunities there as people awaken to the fact that we are antennas, right? We are constantly sending and receiving information, and to see that we are right now in a both and situation. We have incredible opportunities that we can step into. We have just for a moment to take a look at that. You might not be able to see them right now, but like, feel into the fact that we have incredible opportunities right now. One, to do our own inner work, and two, to create and to be creative and create new structures that will have greater benefit for the majority. Like we have that in the midst of an incredibly, aggressive, a viral load, what appears to be an incredibly aggressive viral load, and people dying, like systems breaking down. Our way of life has come to an abrupt, maybe not a screeching halt, but like we've been screeching, maybe not a total halt, but there's definitely, our way of life has been interrupted. So yeah, so I get passionate about this stuff. So thank you for listening to me on this. I feel like, it's always important when concepts show up. My initial sense was like, what's he talking about? Why is he like in such a rant about spiritual bypassing? But then I was like, well, take a minute. Like, what's he talking about? What does this mean? How does this show up? Am I actually doing that? Does that apply to me? And is this important? Is this something that is worth me looking at? And I do feel that it was. So thank you for listening. I'm so grateful to know that you are out there. I feel you. I love you. I love you so much. And we'll be in touch. Make it a great day today. All right. Love you. Bye.